Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. Today's topic is the power of leverage. Now, when most of us hear the word leverage, we may think of a lever, we may think of resources. However, I want to stretch our minds beyond that this evening. When I think of leverage, the first thing that comes to mind is three things I want you to focus on: relationships, imagination, and then skill set. When it comes to relationships, I think of a moment with the famous brand maker, Damon John. By the show of hands, how many of y'all familiar with the brand FUBU? By the show of hands, don't be shy. There we go. I was looking up on Damon John, I'm looking at how do you build a successful brand coming from the Project of Queens? And he told a story, and I didn't really grasp the keys in it. I didn't understand leverage at the moment. But as he told the story, I realized the importance of a relationship. It was hip hop culture. It was the urban community. Other people told him no, but it was LL Cool J. It was that one relationship, someone that believed in his mission. And when he had the opportunity, Damon John would say, hey, LL, can you go to do this, and can you do this? Can you market this here and there? No, he didn't go there. He trusted the brand with another person, another partnership. It was LL Cool J. So when LL Cool J had the opportunity to do a Gap commercial, he asked him, can I wear this hat? FUBU. At the time, FUBU was not big, so Gap just said, oh, it doesn't matter, just go in there. But they didn't address LL Cool J with the importance that he was more than just a rapper. He was a brand and a businessman. So what he did was he dropped in the statement, for us, by us, while wearing the FB hat. They spent $30 million on this advertisement, and for 5 weeks they realized what they didn't realize in the beginning, and they pulled the campaign. As they pulled that campaign, they started to drop sales. They said, what happened? They fired their marketing department because they increased FUBU's revenue. When they found out what happened, they brought in a new campaign management team, and they actually invested another $30 million to rerun that ad. And the FUBU grew from $150 million to $350 million. That reminds me of my mentor, world-renowned speaker, Les Brown. It was because of him. When I met him out in Florida, working with him for 6 months in 2017, doing sales presentations, going through different offices with Grant Cardone, the 10X Growth Conference event, I'm learning so much. And I remember him telling me, like, Brent, are you getting something here, young man? I said, it seems like it's all about confidence and who you know. He said, yes, don't let no one fool you when they say there's no shortcut to success. The shortcut to success is borrow credibility. Again, relationships is the power of leverage. Which brings me to my next point, imagination. It was the Wright brothers. Who would have in the right mind to say, I can build this piece of metal, we can fly it over the ocean? You can't do that, silly rabbit. No one thought so. Even the New York Times newspaper put out an article back in December 8, 1903, and it stated, man will not be able to fly for the next 1,000,000 years. 9 days later, the Wright brothers broke history and made a statement. They was the first people to fly a piece of metal over the ocean. Brings me to my next point. I used to rap. I used to market. I used to do all these things in the neighborhood. And people are like, Brent, you over here, you over there. You're a jack of all trades and a master of none. What is it that you do? They could not see the vision that I had. For me, it was all communication. There was no doubt about it. There was no misconceptions. But I said, what can I do? They was like, well, Brent, you're not famous yet. You don't have $1 million yet. You can't do this. You can't do that. Here I am facing myself, seeing myself, facing the situation of the Wright brothers. Les Brown once said, eyesight versus mindsight. So I told myself, you know what? What did Master P do? Master P was the influential person in my life as a rapper. I said he put out movies. He started a record store. He had a clothing brand, a company. Let me build a documentary. Let me share my story. Let me unpack. Let me take what Les Brown showed me and gave me. And I utilized my voice. I went through the south side of Chicago, where I'm from. I went through the suburbs, where I moved to. And I let others tell their story. How did I impact them? How did I influence them? How did I come to the person I am today? And with no marketing budget, with no money, faced like the situation of Damon John, I was able to put out a documentary and earn up to $5,000 in the first month, no marketing campaign whatsoever. Again, the power of relationship and the power of imagination. Which brings me to my final point of leverage, skill set. It was J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter. She, after 13 months of being married, going through jobless opportunities and looking to make a way for herself, struggling in the coffee shop, writing out these stories. She mastered the art of framing a narrative, and she turned that brand, that story, to multiple series that grew into a billion-dollar enterprise. Intellectual property is what she capitalized on. It was me who capitalized on intellectual property of creating a documentary, telling stories, letting others share the power of stories. So what is the skill set that I developed? The art of storytelling. Film, music, coaching, president of Toastmasters, Harlem Black Chamber of Commerce chapter. So when you think about Earl Nightingale, I like to say this quote: when it comes to the Wright brothers and it comes to anything that you may want to do, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. You keep pushing, you keep striving, you don't stop. And when you hear the word relationships, make sure whoever you come across and you interact with, that there's something that you have in relation, something that you can relate with. And ask yourself, where's this ship taking us? Where are we going? The Wright brothers, we're building this, but where are we going? Who is this for? Where transportation is heading. Always think for the future and not the present moment. My name is Brent Darden, and this is the Power of Leverage. Thank you.